Yo guys, what's up? It is Ripe again, back with more juicy legal advice and as usual without any major cliffhangers. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community. And without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. The first one is titled, Don't Talk to Cops, except... I understand the mantra, don't talk to cops, and it has been hammered into my head repeatedly here and I repeat it almost as often to others. However, the situation I am in is a bit different. Short version, after typing 7 or 8 paragraphs I figured I needed to be more succinct, so here it is. At 2 AM on July 27, 2014, a lady knocks on my door asking for a ride into town. I make up an excuse as I am uncomfortable with the idea. She looks stoned in my non-expert opinion. After I close the door, she steals a power tool off of my front porch. I call the police, give them a DVD of my security camera footage showing the exchange, the theft and a pretty good image of her face. 2 Facebook friends confirm her identity, so I give them her name and the police immediately recognize her by the video. They pick her up a few weeks later and charge her. She returns my power tool and says, I gave her permission to use it. Yeah, a perfect stranger asks to borrow a tool at 2 AM. She is going to trial. She turned down a generous deal since she was in trouble previously for some unrelated stuff and I assume is on probation. So my dumb question is this: if the police ask me to come in and explain my side, do I? I am in no way the target of any investigation. I am the victim and I feel like at least some input will likely be needed from my end for things to proceed. But in the back of my head I keep hearing everyone on this sub saying, don't talk to cops, period. Too long didn't read, don't talk to cops, but someone robbed me. Can I talk to them to help them prosecute the person who did it? And a user in the comments said, generally the mantra don't talk to cops is usually when you are the suspect or have even the slightest chance of being charged with a crime. In this case, you called the cops and requested their aid, you are the victim. They have no intention of charging you with a crime or even trying to look for a way to charge you. Generally, a better way to put it is never answer investigative questions, which includes any open-ended interview. Sadly though, in general when answering the questions that come up here, because people are effing stupid, we have to be hard and fast. Never talk to cops gets the point across a lot better than use your judgment. Because these people have poor, very bad and or horrible judgment. Another person said, you already talked to the cops when you reported the person, the theft and her identity. Why in the world wouldn't you follow through now? If you feel so strongly about not talking to them, just an example, and I'm not saying you personally do, then you should not have reported the problem or the crime against you in the first place. And guys, personally I'm curious, do you follow the mantra of don't talk to the cops under any circumstances? I think it's an interesting point that someone in the comments made, that this mantra only applies if you are the suspect. However, I'm not exactly sure if I would agree with that, considering what is currently going on in America. Let me know your opinion about this don't talk to cops thing in the comments. In addition, I gotta say though, I kinda stick to this mantra as well here in Thailand, because you definitely don't wanna get in trouble here with the police. And the next one is an update to the police story. Backstory: last year at 2 AM one morning a lady knocked on our front door. I answered, being the night owl that I was, shotgun in hand, wondering who would dare be calling at this hour. It was a lady who is a known drug user, I found this out later, who wanted a ride into town. She seemed very out of it, glassy eyes, etc. I wisely refused and wished her a good night, closing the door. At that point, she turned to leave, got to our front gate, paused and then turned around to look back at the door. Seeing I had closed it and she was no longer being watched, she returned to our front porch, rifled through some tools in a wooden crate and stole my jigsaw, placing it under her shirt and leaving into the night. About 5 minutes later, I check our security cameras out of curiosity. We had gotten them because our political signs kept getting stolen, and naturally we figured the best way to solve a $4 theft is to buy $400 security cameras. Anyway, I played back the tape and saw the theft and immediately called 911 to report it. Within 15 minutes, with the help of Facebook, I had the lady's full name, where she lived, and a pretty good idea of her past criminal history. The cops declined to go chase her down that night, but I took a copy of the video in the next morning to the local police department. Immediately, the lady there watched the video, and as soon as the thief came into view, the lady at the police station said, "Yep, that's her, alright." Seems the late last night visitor was a regular in the jail for various misdeeds. So, after the slow-moving, rusty, yet effective wheels of justice finally got some momentum, we have an update. She made a plea deal, not an easy slap on the wrist one, however. I don't know the exact amount, but I know that she was told to either take 1 year or they would go after her full probation amount, closer to 3 years, and would probably get it as their case was as open and shut as could be. Here is to hoping that she gets the help she needs, and if not, at least some time to think about what she did. And in the end, I got my saw back too. Oh, I forgot again, location USA, Scooter's front porch. And guys, who would have guessed that you can actually hide a jigsaw under your shirt? That is definitely a genius location to hide a power tool. Either way, if you have watched until here, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments, and of course, also like the video if you want to support me. Thank you so much. And the next one is titled, Parked Inoperable Vehicle Totaled by Drunk Driver in Texas. Do we call our insurance? What can we expect? Nothing new about the crazy neighbor. She has sent me the same text every day, at least twice a day since last Friday, but I do have something else to ask. This is in Texas. The transmission in our Explorer went a couple months ago, so I parked it in front of my friend's house with her permission until my husband could decide what to do with it. The registration and insurance are both valid. Tonight, a drunk driver slammed into the truck, pushed it 250 feet up the curb and destroyed the trunk and back seat. Nobody was in or around the truck or the driver's car when it happened, thank God, and she apparently only suffered minor injuries. The damage is pretty severe, so it is almost certainly totaled. The driver had an open container in the front seat and had a friend following her, who witnesses say immediately gave her more alcohol and instructed her to drink it, which she did. The driver then tried to leave the scene, witnesses intervened and tried to physically restrain her, and she almost made it back to her house when the police arrived. She was arrested and, according to the police, she's already in jail. Witnesses also told us that 2 weeks prior she did the same thing, drove drunk and slammed into a parked car, but fled and made it home on foot. Then locked herself in the house and somehow avoided being arrested. I don't know how true that is. The truck was not operable at the time of the accident because of the transmission. How do we proceed from here? What can we expect? Her husband came over at one point and said because we had abandoned the truck, we were not entitled to anything. The police told him renewing the registration and maintaining insurance demonstrates we did not abandon the truck, but are we still entitled to anything because it was inoperable? My husband was not sure if he wanted to repair it or sell it, so it's not like we can say we 100% intended to fix and drive it. Should we contact our insurance? We have full coverage, but I don't know if we are supposed to involve our insurance for an accident with an inoperable car that we were not in. If she does not have insurance, we can afford to wait and go after her instead of going through our insurance. So, is that an option? Sorry for all of the stupid questions. Normally I would know what to do, but I am a little emotional and never dealt with an accident where the vehicle was parked and inoperable. And a user in the comments said, you are okay to be emotional, yes, tell your insurance company, the car was injured, the transmission is probably really wrecked at this point, let your insurance company fight the drunk. I'm going to say the transmission karma god smiled on you on this one. In addition, that husband is threatening you and is trying to be a bully, don't talk to him, don't talk to her, let your insurance company handle this. In addition, you did not do anything wrong, you have coverage, your insurance company will handle this, they will end up suing her, and if she's judgment proof, you cannot get blood from a stone, they will make this right for you and will keep going after her for years. You don't need to worry, you did nothing wrong, you are allowed to be emotional, you are not at fault, report it, and don't talk to her husband or her, breathe, it's okay. And guys, I gotta say, even if the transmission in the car was dead and maybe the car looked like crap, it still had value and you are entitled to recoup that value. So what I would personally do is definitely contact the insurance as soon as possible. If you were involved in such a situation, what would you do first? And in addition, I'm curious, what sort of insurance do you have when it comes to your vehicle? Let us know in the comments. And the next one is an update to the truck story. So first, thank you to everyone who offered their advice and support. That was a really rough week for us, a lot of crazy stuff happened that same week, but we called our insurance company after posting here and our adjuster took care of pretty much everything. Thanks to 2 Reddit users, we found multiple places to store the truck and even an offer for a free car, but we ended up not needing it, our adjuster pulled some strings and the truck was declared totaled immediately, so they took responsibility for storing it. The settlement they offered was also notably more than we expected, to the point where we called and questioned it. But the inspector double-checked, said it was fair market value and it was not a mistake. They totally went above and beyond for us in that regard, even knowing we were switching insurance providers afterwards. They also offered to help us switch our policy over to USAA, so they pretty much did that for us too. I wish we could stay with them after this, but our adjuster said we really need a major insurer who will cover us wherever we go. Really, the only thing I had to do was file a claim with the drunk driver's insurance company to get the denial of coverage letter, and it only took one tersely worded email to get that done. They sent us a check less than 2 weeks later, though the adjuster asked to send it to my in-laws' house for liability reasons, I guess, since that is our home of record. But we didn't need it as soon as possible, and my in-laws were more than happy to mail it to us, so it was not a big deal. The only hitch was that they could not get the title for some reason, so they only sent us 80% of the settlement, and once we sent in our title, which reminds me I need to do that this weekend, they will send us the other 20%. They also took our $500 deductible off the top, so we did not pay anything out of pocket. She said they will go after the drunk driver for the deductible on our behalf, but a few people in r/insurance already warned us that could take years. So we wrote it off for now, as long as she will have to pay it eventually, we are okay with that. She also mentioned to my husband something about other money that they will go after us, but we have no idea what for, since we are pretty much whole again now. We have no idea what happened or will happen to the drunk driver, although I wish we could find out. I did call the officer who handled the accident and told him the insurance info she gave was fake, but he did not seem concerned. He said, "I will research it, and if that's true, she will get another citation." I don't think anything will come of that. That is the last we ever heard about it. I've tried looking her up on the court website a few times and I cannot find anything beyond her initial booking from that night. We never did prove for sure who was behind the other post, but we passed it along to the adjuster, who thought it was hilarious, and the police, who said, "What do you mean, he read it?" Ha, just in case. And by the way guys, just to make this clear, apparently there was another post, which is now deleted, about the same incident on Reddit, posted by another person. Anyway, no one has seen or heard from her. Rumor has it she disappeared the same night she was bailed out, and the boyfriend/husband has been laying low since that weekend. The whole street has been calling and texting us to keep us updated, but she very likely skipped town. I guess whatever happens to her, we will probably never know. I figured we would not be involved in that part, since we did not actually witness anything, but we kinda want to know what's going to happen to her. I know it sounds crazy, but we feel bad for her and for her family, but we also want to see something happen. Maybe at least that she loses her license and gets treatment. I don't know, my friend did one of those online background check on her and she supposedly has at least 2 DUI incidents from 2 other states in the last 4 years, and she may have done the same thing 2 weeks before she hit our truck, so this probably was not a one-time lapse in judgment. I have tried to find her on the court's website, but the only thing I could find was her arrest and booking from that night. Oh well. Anyway, that's pretty much the end of it. They took the truck, we got a check, we just have to send in the title, we have no idea what is happening to the drunk driver, and that is the end of it. Kinda anticlimactic, but I'm not complaining. This is the first accident I've ever been in as an adult, and I've heard a million horror stories about insurance companies screwing people over, but this turned out to be easy, quick and more than fair for us. Thank you again for all your help and advice, especially Sagittarian Knows on Reddit and all of you who PM'd me with ideas and advice. This was a lot easier knowing what to expect, and we are so grateful for everyone who took the time to help us. And guys, I'm curious, did you ever have a problem with a drunk driver? Did someone maybe ever crash into you? Please let us know in the comments, because I'm curious to hear about your stories. And personally, I gotta say, I had a friend of mine around 3 years ago who was hit by a drunk driver at around 2 AM on a Friday night, and thankfully my friend, nothing really happened to him, but his car was pretty much totaled and the other guy ended up in the hospital. So remember, drunk driving is really a damn stupid idea. Either way, unfortunately we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's content, and if you did, please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.